Lesson 23, Valhalla, from the book 55 Things Learned at 55, now available at selected Canadian and U.S. bookstores and online, with ISBN 978-1-03-83267-1-3. Available in hard copy, softcover, ebook, and soon the audiobook. Lesson 23 is about medically assisted death, titled Valhalla. Content warning. This section of the book contains graphic descriptions of scenes I encountered during my paramedic work, as well as discussions of suicide. Everything declines after reaching perfection. Therefore let no man be beguiled by the sweetness of a pleasant life. A quote from the 12th century poet al-Baqa Al-Rundi in a poem mourning the Catholic invasion and conquest of Islamic Al-Andalus in present-day Seville in Spain. The sickly man said in a defeated voice, "I want to die already." He looked jaundiced, and he smelt of death. I asked, "What's hurting in you?" He looked at me with his sunken eyes, and knew then he was aware of and oriented to who he was, where he was, and his time in his book. Sadly, it was his time to call it quits. He was connected to 2 bags, a foley catheter inserted for urine drainage, and a colostomy for bowel excretion. This gentleman, over 70 years old and residing near the city of Winnipeg, in majestic Manitoba, Canada, was dealt a rough hand. He was battling cancer in its final stages, nearing the end of his life. Game over. End of story. Cancer is a disease that brings unfairness not only to those afflicted, but also to their loved ones. After 12 years as a paramedic, this is one illness that I dread most and feel is unjust to those who are afflicted with the disease. Surrounded by his family on his deathbed, many of whom had swollen eyelids and puffy eyes, they pleaded, "Can you please take him to the hospital? We don't want our father to die here, as it will create sorrowful memories." Some things are easier to say than to do. His wife cried quietly, seeming to be the most grounded person in the room, as if she had come to terms with the reality that his suffering and hers were drawing to a close. Some argue that wishing for someone's death is unkind, but I truly disagree, especially given what I witnessed that day in that dreary and dark place filled with the scent of death. I'm not proud to admit that I frequently enter a home and am instantly confronted by the overwhelming smell of death. It is unforgettable, it is painful, and it makes me believe there is truly hell on earth. About euthanasia, or the painless killing of a patient suffering from an incurable and painful disease. The practice is illegal in most countries. The Pope in the Vatican has consistently opposed the practice of euthanasia, citing Moses' 6th commandment, "Thou shalt not kill." However, I believe this should not apply to terminally ill individuals seeking to alleviate their suffering. Taking a human life is not a civilized approach for society. Nonetheless, we should contemplate the act to alleviate pain. Throughout my 12-year career as an intermediate care paramedic, I've observed that few things cause as much severe suffering as stage 4 cancer. The pain associated with cancer, as I have witnessed over more than a decade of my work, is both cruel and unjust. As someone raised observing the Roman Catholic faith, I adhere to the tenets of my religion regarding the sanctity of life. We must first evaluate whether enduring a terminal illness can still be deemed a life for those affected. Is it necessary to prolong their suffering? Medically assisted death has the potential to enhance the quality of life in our world and may become widely accepted in many countries over the next decade. It can alleviate the suffering of both the patient and their loved ones. Medically assisted death is not about ending a life, but rather about restoring dignity to life. For more about this subject, visit the website philipabacon.com to watch short videos from the book 55 Things Learned at 55. What's your position on medically assisted death?